right, welcome everybody. Oh, we've got a little bit of freezing going on, I can tell. Let's see if we can get that sorted out. I was just telling them how
It's not
excited.
freezing when I look that super enthusiastic. Look at that. I'm just fist pumping the whole episode.
You look amazing, my man. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, I just needed to. So, yeah, I got this awesome new setup, but it looks like one of the things right out of the gates I'm going to need to do is grab a little bit more memory because not having you guys in the forefront had an effect there. So that's all right. 16 gigs is never enough anyway. Minimum 32. Oh, God, by the way, hey, we're live with Axie Chat. We're on episode 65. We have an awesome guest with us, Programmatically Pull. Good to have you here,
Up,
my
everyone?
man. Excellent,
It's good to be here.
Oh man, I've wanted to have you on for quite some time, pretty much ever since. Well, I mean, yeah, I talked to you right after you got your position there at Sky Mavis, and I was really excited to have you on. So we're finally getting to it. Super good.
You've wanted to have him on. I've wanted to hear you pronounce his name right. So
Yeah,
we're breaking all sorts of records today.
I think everybody's wanted that. I like how Ziori just goes with PP.
Well, I got to be honest. I was going to say I saw Ziori's tweet saying, "Hey, I'm really excited to hear PP tonight."
Yep.
And I'm like, is he calling our show doo doo? Does he like what's going on here? And then I figured it out. It took me way too long, though. I'll admit.
All right, well, let's get kind of the first things out of the way quickly here. Welcome. We want to make sure that everybody realizes we'll give you our disclaimer.
This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. You shouldn't construe any such information or material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. We have no responsibility for your decisions, are not game devs, and our opinion could be flawed. Axie hard.
Axie hard, absolutely. Okay. So yeah, let's get into it. Welcome to the public stream. We do this every week. We do it 8 p.m. Eastern time, regardless of daylight savings or not. It's 8 p.m. So we're glad you're here with us. Thanks for joining us. And this week I'm just so excited. There's so many things happening. The tagline I came up with was "Prepare for Infinity." I just feel like there's so many things coming, and I know it's a hard day, right? Because there's lots of red out there, lots of kind of sad stuff happening in the cryptocurrency. But here I am, like super excited, feeling really excited. And we'll talk about some hard topics too. I know I'm the shill master. I'm the excitement guy. I see all things positive for Axie Infinity 100% of the time. But yeah, we'll talk about some of the hard stuff that's kind of in the space right now too. But just wanted to, I don't know, I just feel like there's so much stuff coming. I'm really excited about that. So again, we have a great guest with us. Excited to get some great information from Programmatically. I got an opportunity to see Mike out in New York. It was freaking awesome to hang out and kind of get to know the man behind the support help desk and the amazing things that you're doing. I went all the way back to the announcement of you coming on to the team. And I guess you're technically, your title is Ecosystem Support Director. Is that still the case? Is that the right title?
We're a little fluid with titles at Sky Mavis. But yeah, I guess that is my official title. I always just go with head of support. I think it's a little more clear that way. Ecosystem support director, people are like, what is that? But head of support, everyone knows what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense. Go ahead.
I was just going to give a little bit of background. I'm not sure if people remember what things were like a few months back, but we had just thousands and thousands of people joining every week. Axie obviously sits in this weird space between gaming and DeFi and crypto and like all these different kind of new areas that are coming together in the tech space. And obviously there were a lot of issues with people just getting acquainted with kind of all three of these things or being thrown into the center. And we didn't have a whole lot of support. So, you being brought into that role and helping kind of define what support for Axie and I guess all of Sky Mavis looks like has been a huge help. Can you explain a little bit what things looked like beforehand and kind of what you've done to
yeah, definitely,
I guess make things easier?
Yeah, so when I came in, I actually found Axie through Reddit. I was just kind of reading through random Reddit forums, found Axie, and then I was just like, I had so much conviction that Axie is the future. And so then I just started dumping a lot of time into the Discord, learning the game, playing the game, breeding, like all the facets of Axie, just going down all the rabbit holes. But then I saw this need where it was actually Jiho and Psych Out that were doing support in like the main support channel. But I also knew that they had to be doing like a million other things. And so support was just like one more thing. So I figured I would just give it a try. I had done support previously at university that I was at. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just get in and give this a try. And most of the time, it's usually, at least back then, it was kind of the same questions over and over again. We didn't have like information. We didn't have like a great wiki with like all the information consolidated. Uh, so since I've joined the team, that's kind of some of the things we have worked on. Is we've gotten a formal ticketing system, because before all the support was inside of Discord, and that was a nightmare because if if someone wasn't there into Discord, no one was scrolling up to find your previous questions and then come back to those questions. So you had to be there when someone was there to answer your questions, and then like finding replies. Like if you were trying to talk to 4 or 5 people at a time, it was really hard because all the replies were mixed in, and you were like, mixing up addresses and stuff. It was a nightmare. So we moved it to a formal ticketing system where now it's all email based. When you send in a ticket, it's actually an email to us, and then your whole thread is right there. So we can just see that. We can have notes and we can have context to that ticket. So we actually get your account information when you create a ticket, so we can kind of know, okay, this is this person's Ronin, and it just helps us move a little bit faster when we're kind of doing some things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been super impressed with it's the first line here on the announcement is that you were responsible for setting up the help desk and getting that whole support system in place. And I gotta say, man, great job. I've had to use the support system a little bit too, especially with that Axie level reset. And I feel like it's a really slick system. It is responsive. So great job. I mean, I know that you've pulled from, I think, is it Zendesk or other different kind of more open source support systems and so forth. But clearly you guys have done a great job in getting this one set up and going.
Yeah. Zendesk is the provider we use that handles all the ticketing systems. We didn't want to create. We had a discussion about like creating our own, and I was like, it would take a lot of time. So it'd be better if we just used what Zendesk are professionals uh, in the environment already, and a lot of companies use them for their support systems. And they had everything we needed. Like when we were looking through, kind of when I talked to Jiho, it was actually Jiho. I went to Jiho and I was like, hey, I think that there's a need for this and we could solve this. And so I actually pitched them kind of like the help desk and all these types of things. It's actually funny because the numbers I gave him were incredibly like so much different from the time that I actually came on, from like when I pitched it to him, and then like 3 weeks later we were in this parabolic growth, and I was like, well, now we need something totally different, like something much bigger. I had actually imagined just the team just being me, myself, and me being able to answer most of the tickets with maybe like 1 or 2 other people, and now we have 9 people in the queue to be hired. So by the end of this month, we should have 9 people total to answer tickets. So it's just like a 180 completely from where we were in the very beginning, but we're getting there. We know our response times are still far behind what we want them to be. It's taking like a month to get a response. And so we've been trying to kind of combat that in a few ways. Hiring people and getting those people up to speed, and then also prioritizing certain queues. So like you said, when all the Axie levels reset, we had 2 people, my 2 team leads, and they just kind of dug into that and worked with engineering to get all the information from the trainers to the engineering team, and then back and forth. And just kind of get that flow going and stuff. And then there's a few other things like the stuck axes. That's always been an issue that's been around for a long time. So we've worked with engineering to actually get a tool so that actually now the support team can unstuck axes. And then we try and give some of those queues priority to help at least get response times down for some of these like really common issues. But we hope once everyone is onboarded that we'll actually be able to get our response times down to like a day or 2. That is the goal anyways.
That's so awesome. I mean, the thing I love about talking with you on these issues is just that you have such a clear, both perspective of what's happening now, but where you want things to go. So it's just got me excited for the future of Axie Infinity. That's one of the reasons I was so excited about this episode, is because this is what's happening with Sky Mavis and Axie. Everyone, I mean, it's getting real. Like, yeah, we get to own our game assets. It's something that's never been done before. But Sky Mavis, Axie Infinity, they're taking all these things very seriously. And like you said, like, we're having some issues with Ronin right now, and we've had some before in the past. And a lot of times, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to like say, okay, hey, I'm going to engineer a system, a game, a platform, all of these things that is going to support 10 million people right out of the gates. And honestly, it doesn't make sense to do that because you scale up as things scale up. We just have had such a huge amount of growth, the logarithmic, parabolic, whatever you want to call it. The growth has just been absolutely phenomenal, and it's just stayed very, very far ahead of what has been able to scale up quickly. So yeah, awesome. I love it. Again, I feel this way from programmatically. I knew I was gonna try a whole episode.
Just call me Michael.
I knew I was gonna be really excited to talk about this with Mike, because it's not just Mike; it's the whole team. They're looking forward. They're looking for growth. They're looking for solutions that are gonna allow this to really go to infinity. And that's part of the reason why I use that tagline. You know, we're headed toward infinity. This is going to be incredible, awesome. I'm so hyped up. So cool.
We have a lot of amazing things coming. We've already released like a lot of really amazing things, and then we have so many more. It's just, it is very, very exciting. Like, I am super excited as well for just where we're going with the world, and just like the whole mission. Like, that's why I got into Axie, was the whole mission of Axie, and the way it's kind of changing the world and helping all these people. I mean, we always talk. Everyone always talks about these things, but it is every time sometimes you kind of get so into the weeds, especially with support and doing the day-to-day. It's helpful to step back and look at the bigger picture and kind of where we're going, because yeah, you can get dragged down really quickly with like, we have a lot of little issues here and here and here, but if you look at a high level where we're going, every day we are making progress. You've always like strive to just get 1% better every day, and so I love that saying, because every day we do get a little bit better, and we get a little bit faster at solving these issues, and eventually we'll get to a point where Ronin is, Ron is out, everyone can use this to pay for transactions and stuff, and that will kind of resolve a lot of these issues, and of course, but then there will be other things.
Yes.
So
it won't. It's infinity, man. That's it's. Yeah, we're and nobody that I've talked to has any level of satisfaction with where we are. It's wonderful that things have gone as great as they've gone, but everybody on the team, everybody in the community, as far as I know, we're all ready to push and go and keep this thing just getting bigger and better, more and more awesome as time goes on. So awesome, man. So awesome. So you did say there's things coming, and I'll never miss an opportunity to say leaks. Is there anything that you can tell us?
I am unfortunately not the leak person. I leave that to Jiho, maybe a little bit of Ziori. I am pretty sealed tight with leaks.
That's all good, man. We always have to try.
Yeah.
So maybe from your perspective, this might be a good time to even just kind of ask you, like, what do you see is happening with the Ronin chain right now? A lot of people, including myself, that are active with the Ronin chain, trying to breed, trying to buy, sell Axies, participate in the marketplace. Is it really just the free RPC that's kind of got everything clogged up?
Yep. Yeah, it all comes back to that. There's kind of like a longer explanation, but the short explanation is that there's like two different paths you can take when sending transactions on the Ronin blockchain. And right now we have an entire half of the path, which is the main path, which is using the RON token. That's kind of like the intended way that people will send transactions, is cut off and can't be used right now. So like, just imagine that you have like, two flows for like water to release, which would be all the demand, all the transactions. And right now, half of it can't be used. So you have to push all the transactions through this free gas RPC, which was kind of like, it's good, but that's not supposed to be the main solution for transactions. It's supposed to be Ron. And so there's that. And then also we have these amazing guilds that are growing rapidly, very, very fast, right? They're adding hundreds of scholars, and they've had to create automation to kind of keep up with that. Well, that automation brings in a lot more demand, and sometimes there's systems that can be a little spammy. And so I think that there's finding a right balance there too with some of our community devs. Like, we don't have any rate limits in place right now for these types of like APIs, like the RPC or something. And I think that that's something you'll see in the future, is some rate limiting, some API keys, these types of things that we need, because otherwise people will just every second check this. So it's like, do we need to check that every second? Could we maybe scale that back a little bit?
So I'll tell you this, like, if there was a solution for this, just to make sure that my scholars and everything, were paid just kind of as quickly as possible, it would be nice to be able to just kind of send a constant checker or something. I don't know. I don't fully have that thought in my mind clearly, but it would be nice to have just kind of like a continuous self-checking system where it just continuously looked to see if SLP could be claimed or not. But again, bogging down this, I don't want to be paying Ron for every one of those checks either.
Right.
So yeah, there's lots of things that have to be sorted out. I know Enjoi has regularly wanted to know more information about this. Is the team looking at a solution for kind of a marketplace or official platform rental system to allow Axie teams to be used rather than having to kind of do it on your own and create your own, MetaMask with sub accounts and then, using the QR codes or a login to let players use those assets? Do you see things headed that way at some point, or is that something you can't really get into?
Yeah, I don't know about rentals. And then yeah, if we did have any future products, I wouldn't mention it now, but we are keenly aware of kind of the scholarship model and some of the pain points in that scholarship model, via whether it be onboarding, giving teams, monitoring the scholars. There's not really like great solutions or direction from us on how it should be handled. So we are aware that there are big pain points there, and so I think you will see some of us, us trying to reduce some of those pain points in places, but we haven't like formalized that just yet. So, but we
Wow.
are aware that those pain points do exist, and they're important because they're important to the community. They're important to us.
Absolutely makes perfect sense.
I think one of the interesting trends that I keep seeing with Axie, and you almost alluded to it a little bit earlier, is when there were 8,000 people playing the game, it's really easy to be reactive instead of proactive, right? Just because there's not as much demand. But now when we've got 2 million plus people, almost 3 million, that are utilizing Axie as almost a bank account in some cases, they're utilizing it as a job. You have to be a lot more proactive and thinking for the future. But we see all these things like the SLP price, which I mean technically could be an easy fix. They could increase the breeding cost and stuff like that. We see stuff like Ronin was basically down today. People couldn't make SLP payments to scholars. You couldn't withdraw your access. Like there were a lot of issues with Ronin today. And again, like you kind of alluded to, technically that could be resolved by activating the RON token and allowing people to start paying for their transactions. And part of me wonders, are these technical things that are kind of still being determined by the team, or is this thinking about the future more than anything? They had alluded to, with the RON token in particular, that they didn't want to flood the market when there wasn't enough to kind of supply the market to utilize this thing. We've got a lot of people and not a lot of RON tokens out there right now. And same thing kind of with SLP. They obviously want to watch the economics. They want to ensure that there's enough SLP out there to breed to, so that we have enough Axies for future demand. Where do you see things going in terms of kind of those items, like just that thinking ahead, that pushing forward, like
Right.
where does the team stand behind that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. And these decisions that we are making, even though these are painful times, the decisions to hold off on giving Ron is exactly what you're saying. It's a metrics made decision. We're using an entirely different model from what other crypto teams typically use, right? Typically, if you want to get your new coin out into the atmosphere or it's into the environment in some way, there's like this big airdrop, or maybe they sell a bunch to exchanges, and these exchanges kind of slowly leak it out, and in some sort of way selling to VCs or who knows what it is. We are giving it directly to the people that are providing liquidity, basically helping the environment. Like, so if you support Katana, which means you support all of our members wanting to trade whatever their assets are, we're rewarding you. We're giving you that first chance to get access to Ron, which is kind of unheard of. I don't want to say unheard of, but at least for the projects that I've seen, I haven't seen a lot of that where you are giving the community members at every level, like anyone can provide liquidity, even if it's just a little bit, and you can slowly start to earn Ron rewards. Um, and I think that's so important. But it does come with downfalls to doing it this way, in that we need the Ron distribution to be at a sufficient level before we can release Ron. Otherwise, yeah, there could be all these like supply side attacks, or there's just massive spikes or drops in price because this person who has like all the Ron decides they want to dump, or they want to buy it all up, all in one huge go. They just want to buy all of the Ron, right? Price spikes, and it can just cause all these market issues with Ron. So we have to be patient and follow through with what the data is telling us. And right now, there's just not sufficient distribution of the Ron rewards to get to where we want to be. But we do have a plan. We do closely monitor that data, and we'll get to a point where we know, okay, at this point, if we release Ron, we feel comfortable with it. There are some other solutions for the Ronin network. I know that that's a big issue right now, and it's a big issue for us. Again, anything that's affecting the community. I know sometimes it feels like maybe we're not doing anything, or we don't care about these things, but we definitely do. Anything is a big issue for you, it's a big issue for us. Just because we are also a part of the community. We play the game. We have friends that are running scholarships. We are big members of part of the community too. So any of these things that are affecting you, they're also affecting us. And so we want to get these issues resolved, but it just takes some time. But yeah, there is other solutions. Part of the solution, or part of the problem also, is that we only have the validator nodes that we have that process free gas transactions are only the Sky Mavis validator nodes. So we're kind of taking on that load of processing all the free transactions. And so I think there can be some relief if we bring on some more Sky Mavis validator nodes to process those free transactions. And so that is something that we're looking at. And that will kind of spread out that load, because what's happening is the current validator nodes are just at maximum capacity. They have a certain pool size, and those pools are just getting overwhelmed. And then that's when you start seeing those drop transactions. You get sent to a validator node, and the validator is like, "No, I'm full," and then that transaction just gets dropped. So if we bring on more validator nodes, there will be less of that drop transactions.
Yeah, I mean, Ron's going to be an incredible solution, and I love what you were saying early on. I'm feel the same way. Like I totally feel the same way. Like Axie Infinity hit me in completely a different way. The potential that is here, in terms of some people use the term metaverse, or even just more simply blockchain gaming, where it's decentralized. Those things just really ring true to me. It's a really, really exciting time and situation, and I know that we're on a mostly centralized platform, not entirely, but mostly centralized platform under Ronin. But things are going to change in that direction over time as things get proved out. So as people use it a lot, as different projects get involved with it, and different things happen as it gets more used. Particularly with land and all the tokens that are coming and everything that's going to be awesome moving forward, we'll get a lot more sense of exactly how Ronin, all of those things are gonna play out. And that's what just gets me so excited, is again the nature of an individual's ability to own assets, and the nature of Sky Mavis and Axie Infinity to be willing to allow those assets to be provided to community members. That, I mean, like you just said, like anybody can stake their liquidity position in the two pools that provide for the Ron drop, and you can be acquiring Ron. I can't think of another I can't think of another project that's allowed something like that. There have been other staking projects out there, but to release kind of the primary token on a side chain such as Ronin, I'm not aware of it being handled that way. So Sky Mavis, Axie Infinity, they just keep innovating and knocking it out of the park with new things. How many other game style, not that there's a ton of them out there, but how many other projects are like actively giving opportunities for their player base, for their user base to learn things like AxieFi, which is, DeFi put into gaming. And I absolutely, it's just incredible the knowledge that people just being involved, even at the level of a scholar, they end up with a wallet, which is amazing. There's still a lot of people in this world that just don't even have a blockchain cryptocurrency wallet. And so even that experience, I feel like, puts them ahead in some ways, just understanding these technology aspects and being able to learn them and be rewarded through a gaming environment. Oh, yeah, I'm right there with you, Mike. It's so awesome.
That's something we're also really excited about. So part of the support team's mission is education as well. And so I kind of, I think we were talking about this in New York. Had I had it my way, I feel like I actually would have done it reversed. Like when I stood up the support office, I would have created the education team first and then done support.
Right.
But there was just such a high demand for support, I couldn't push that off any longer. So we did support first, but the next big thing that we'll be doing is education, and that will look like getting some people that are in the blockchain education space, and having them create like Axie themed materials to teach people about crypto, because we have a lot of users that joined Axie, but they don't know anything about crypto. They just heard about this great game. It's fun. They want to earn on the side, but all these worlds combine for them, and so they want to play the game, but they're just very excited. And so they just run headfirst in, they click next. They don't read any of the prompts.
Yeah.
And so that can be kind of problematic. So we do want to kind of create some more education opportunities and make that education, fun in a way, so that it's not just like reading the fine print and all that. And so that will be kind of some of the things that we'll be looking forward to in the future.
I mean, it's sorely needed. I spent about 3 hours the other day trying to set my dad up with a MetaMask wallet. And, going back to some of the documentary stuff that we've seen in the past, like some of these people playing this game are way older than my dad and, way younger too, like, 13, 14. It's crazy. And these people aren't necessarily typically the most technically advanced. So getting them up to speed on again this culmination of this gaming and DeFi and crypto is super important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so in the chat it talked about WeChat Pay, which I'm not familiar with, but I think it's very similar, like the Cash App or Venmo. That's exactly right. Like people can use this Ronin wallet now in the current state free, although it's kind of having some struggles, but basically free transaction. You can send money to someone, something that has value, the same as money that can be transferred into fiat, with just a free transaction from one person to another person. And the other thing I like about it is kind of a person with some libertarian leanings is it's like cash, it's sent and gone and it's done, and it's not reversible. I don't like that scammers and nefarious people are using it in negative ways. And I come from a very strong gaming background. I am doing my best to raise the connotation of what it means to be a gamer. I think gamers are amazing, and I think that they've been treated like garbage for a long time. Like you've almost had to hide in your closet if you were a gamer, But I think in other games you see that same sort of scammer mentality, and unfortunately maybe it comes with people who are, kind of clever and have some technical skill and willing to bend the boundaries of morality and do bad things. But I remember people trying to scam me from my WoW Gold or my equipment. One of my guilds fell apart over a necro item drop in EverQuest that somebody grabbed and sold for $1,000, and now everybody ended up hating each other because one person kind of like stole it, and and was one of the leadership of the guild. Wow, that's kind of a long. There was a lot that I packed into those statements there, but absolutely love that people have an option for transferring value to each other, and I think when Ron does drop, it's still going to be a reasonable transaction fee. What blows my mind is when I need to do a main chain Ethereum transaction, and it costs as much as if I were to buy, a fairly decent Axie, just to do a single transfer. That's a little tough. I definitely don't want to see that happen on the Ronin chain. Do you think about that? Do you see any issues there of Ron becoming too valuable and making transactions too expensive, or do we feel pretty confident that we're still going to be in an environment where transactions are reasonable as far as the total fee?
Well, so the whole purpose of us moving to, I mean, you kind of already said this, the whole purpose of us moving away from Ethereum and onto our own sidechain is that we can control those gas rates, and we want to make sure that the transactions are affordable. I have thought about that, but I don't think that is a worry. I think the team has that under control. And what's comforting is that the purpose of Ronin is to make sure that the transactions price is reasonable and it doesn't become this outrageously expensive transaction rate. I also kind of wanted to piggyback on what you said about the scammers and stuff. Anytime I can get a plugin to beg people to not share their seed phrase, your seed phrase is your 12 English words. We now call it the secret recovery phrase. Never ever share that. Sky Mavis, Axie Infinity, no one will ever ask you for that. If they do ask you for that, they are a scammer 100%. They never need it. So if you're at a website that is asking you for that secret recovery phrase, it is a scam site. I promise you, no matter how convincing it is a scam site. So please just never ever share that with anyone.
And I guess I'll talk about that even more. Obviously, just volunteering your seed phrase is an absolutely, you're going to lose your assets the second you give that up. But putting it on your computer, even if it's a picture on your computer, for sure putting it on some sort of like shared system like Dropbox or something like that. That's on the cloud, and there are nefarious people that are looking for these sorts of things. So you have to be very, very careful. Like, it freaks me out even typing in my seed phrase on my own computer that I make sure is on a secure paid for internet connection. Just even doing that freaks me out. I don't like it, but I do it quickly and close the window as quick as possible. But locking your wallets, keeping them closed, if you're not actively using them. I'm not saying that it's highly likely that someone can hack into your computer, but it can happen. So, having really, really careful security techniques and following those. Like, I hate to say this, but if somebody puts a link in Discord, you better look at it carefully, make sure that you know what it is and where it's taking you and what it's doing, because there have been people who've clicked on links and then all of a sudden usually it's when they get onto your computer, scan it for your seed phrase that's being held digitally somewhere on your computer. But just be very, very careful. These people are very intelligent and they're thinking through things. They're always trying to find a way. So just be very, very cautious.
Yeah, the other big place of compromises is installing freeware, whatever. I'm trying to think of something like you want to get this cracked program for free because it's very expensive, or this
an
new
energy
game
counter.
Releasing. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. Energy. Yeah, bots to play the game. That was the big one. We had a big wave of that going around, and people were, I want to, play the game all day for me and just make me money. But it's actually just malware that just scans your computer for your seed phrases and then ships them off to the scammers. So please try and avoid that as much as possible too. Don't install that stuff on your computer. Make sure that you're installing from legitimate sources and that you trust whoever you're downloading this from before you run it on your computer.
Awesome.
Can we talk real quick about, because there was and let me back up real quick. Now we have the Ronin phone wallet, right?
Yeah, mobile wallet.
For a long time, people were getting scammed and they were blaming it on Axie because they thought they were using official wallets, and unfortunately at the time there was no official mobile, either Apple or Android wallet for Ronin, and so some of these apps were being malicious or pre-generating seed phrases, from what I heard, potentially. And then, the owner of those apps already had the seed phrase and was able to drain them out.
Yep.
Do you recall that? I mean, does that sound accurate? Because that was a big issue for a while.
It was a big portion of my life. There was a lot of frustrating hours that went into that because obviously when anyone in the community gets scammed, we feel you. Like, it hurts us as well. Like, we don't want
Hate
to
it.
see any of our community members being scammed, and so it really hurts us as well. So we spent a lot of time working with Google and Apple to get these down. It's unfortunate that they have really strict policies in place about when they can take down certain applications and stuff, and it's not just as straightforward as going to them and being like, "That's a scam, take it down right now." It's so it's building that relationship with them and building a process. We got to a place where we could get these apps down, but yeah, at one point there was like 5 fake Ronin wallet apps on the Google Play Store, and it was a nightmare. But we worked through the process, and now we have good relationships with these companies, and so when these scam apps do go up, we're able to get them down pretty quickly, and we're hoping now that we have the real mobile Ronin wallet up, it will be obvious that ours will have many, many more installs than the fake one will have. And so we're hoping that will be like that key differentiator, so you know which one is fake. And then obviously we'll still be aggressively pursuing any fake apps that are published and getting them taken down.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of stuff to do, right? People doing fake websites, fake apps. There's just a ton of stuff out there that these scammers. It blows my mind. I think I've said this before. Like, if you actually engage in Axie Infinity in a positive, building way, you could take all of that scammer energy and actually earn pretty dang good in the Axie Infinity and blockchain universe in general. So it just kind of cracks me up. People, choosing that, and I just hope they all fail all the time, and that all of their efforts are a waste, and that they rot. All right.
Yeah, there's so many. Sorry, last word on that.
Yeah.
There's so many like fraud attempts out there that it is really quite frustrating to like fight all of them. We try and take down as many of the scam sites as we can and stuff, but it's always going to be here. And so really the best thing that we can do is to teach people how to be secure and how to protect their seed phrase, because as the scammers are less successful, then there will be less demand for the scammers will go somewhere else. And so I think that's a big part of the support team's mission, is to create that educational program so that we can teach everyone how to be secure, and so that they can quickly identify these scam attempts and then not lose their assets. And then hopefully that will kind of reduce the scamming. The other big place that we get scams is the Discord. So just one more plug. If I am adding you, or if Psychout is adding you, or Jiho is adding you, it is not us. As much as we would love to talk to everyone, and I try to talk to as many people as I can, but it's just not possible. So it's less likely that you're going to see one of us add you. It's impossible that one of us are going to add you. If we needed to say something, we'd probably say something in like the general chat first. So that's the approach I take. If I actually need to add you to address some sort of issue that you're having, I will actually send a message in general chat or whatever channel you're in, and I'll tag you and I'll say, "Hey, I'm sending you a friend request. Please make sure that you check it's the real me before accepting it." But yeah, just ignore any other friend request you get. That's something else that we're working with Discord on closely, trying to get them to push out some new tools and stuff that will help us fight these scammers. So we're still kind of in that process of building that relationship with Discord, but it will get better.
And I can say as well, it'll never come from me either, unless I'm having a direct conversation with you, and it won't come from Enjoi. It won't come from basically any major member of the community, particularly anybody that's an angel. You're not going to randomly just wow Davicio, thanks, and thanks for the raid, Axie Rabbit. That was absolutely huge. So just be wise. Like I'm not saying that we're big important people. That's not my point, but I have to turn off all my friends. I have to turn off my mutual server direct messages. It's just because otherwise I'm swamped. I'm already swamped reading through everything on Axie Chat and various other Discords, including the main Axie Discord. So it's just really, really unlikely that
right.
that out of the blue.
I get 100 inbounds a day, so most of my most of my talks are through, again, the Axie Infinity Discord, or Axie Chat, or some of these other guilds and stuff that I communicate with. So yeah, I 100% agree. And back to what you were saying, Mike, with working with Discord, we did kind of hear some frustrating news this week from their CEO, mentioning that the hopeful integration with NFTs was kind of put on hold due to some backlash from the Discord community. So hopefully we'll see,
Oh
kind of
man,
some
you're
more
trying to get me
of
all
these.
upset.
but hopefully we'll see more of these traditional. I mean, maybe not even traditional. They're tech companies start integrating with Web3 to make this a little bit easier to tell who's real and who's fake. Because if I see an NFT that I know only you have, it's going to be a lot easier to know that
Dude,
you're the right guy.
that's going to happen more and more in life. We've already talked about this, I think, but I think concert tickets, like tickets to sports events, all these sorts of things, it's going to go more and more to NFTs because it's just better. Like, it's a memorable thing that you get from going to the event. It makes it clear that you actually have a pass, the ability to go into the event. I just see NFTs being bigger and bigger as time goes on. It's going to be a big deal just in regular life. We're way ahead of the curve. We're way ahead even in Axie, but we're way ahead just in general with the NFT cryptocurrency space. And it's going to be world changing. Metaverse is going to happen too. Like, I don't know if it has to be VR or not VR or any of those sorts of things. But I mean, it's going to happen in one way or the other. Like, it's just too convenient to have cool shit that apologize for my language, that is not that if you're smart you can't lose, and it's not going to degrade over time or depreciate. It's just too awesome of a technology. It's just way cool. So yeah, sorry, you got me going, Enjoi. That whole Discord thing not being willing to integrate blockchain technology, I do not understand that. And you'll get me going on the whole NFT environment bullcrap. Like, these are the same people who are spending all day on their computers, either playing games or doing other, high demand electric energy tasks, and they're not worried about that. They just want to blame somebody who's actually, doing something innovative with the blockchain. And I understand Ethereum needs to do a better job with managing the energy costs of the system. I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything like that. I do want to see better solutions. I think Ronan's an incredible solution, being kind of a proof of authority, proof of stake situation that we have for a chain. So it can happen, and it will happen over time. But the idea that we're going to have Luddites like Discord just because a few idiots say stupid things about blockchain technologies be unwilling to move forward, that's frustrating. And then I feel like the blockchain space was just saying, hey, it helps us avoid scammers, it helps us prove legitimacy, and they weren't like I mean, you always have some people, I guess, don't get me wrong. Yeah.
Well, and the hilarious thing is, right, Discord already has all sorts of integrations or allows people to create their own bots. You've got it up on your screen right now. Collabland is basically doing this. I mean, it's not this deep integration like we'd like to see that connects your wallet and allows you to, save an NFT as your profile picture to basically verify your identity, right? That's what we're talking about to stop this fraud. But realistically, all of this integration is already existing through some of these external apps, and this is where the fraud comes, is because people can replicate these apps and build in their own negative code. Potentially. I'm not saying Collabland is a bad bot by any means. I love that thing. We use it in Axie Chat, and I know the Axie Infinity Discord uses it. But I get bad DMs from fake Collabland bots all the time, and there's no way to verify because they've got the same profile picture, and it just says connect your account. So these are the things that we're trying to avoid by having these deeper integrations. And the people who aren't involved in the community yet don't really see that. They just see this, the NFT news, high prices and this environmental stuff like we were just talking about.
And I'm pretty sure, and Mike and Enjoi, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the actual Collabland bot, that's why I put this up there. It's got the number 6372. And I think that that's the official one. Like if you check for that number, you can feel fairly confident that's the right one. Is that right? Or can people spoof that number? Odin?
You can
I
spoof
believe,
that number.
yeah, I
Ooh.
believe that number can be spoofed.
Ugh.
If you get Nitro, because people do it to me too. They get Nitro, and then I guess Nitro allows you to change your number, so you can be the same programmatically pull with whatever my number is, 1713. So there can be another programmatically pull 1713. The thing you can't spoof is like if you
Discord.
turn on, yeah, dev mode. If you turn on Discord dev mode and then you right click copy ID, that cannot be spoofed. But I think that the typical person who's using Discord doesn't do that. It's only like the moderators of Discord and things like that that use those IDs.
See, and that's why we
It's
need
not
to be
well known.
talking about some of these things too. Like, fortunately, I've already done some Collabland integrations, so I have a DM that I know it's going to pull up that DM if it's the legitimate one. So I don't,
Right.
I feel confident that I'm getting confirmation from the right one. But yeah, that's very very frustrating.
Yeah, when a Collabland bot pops up and it's got 100 previous messages, I know that's legit. When I've got a Collabland pop up and it's fresh, that's when I start freaking out.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
out of my DMs.
Yeah. Oh, it makes me so mad. I actually did see somewhere that Owl was toying with some. If you know what you're doing and you have some time and you just want to kind of like give somebody waste their time and have them have a fun ride. It is kind of fun to mess around with these scammers and just be like, oh really? Oh, what do I do? And just kind of toy around with them. Just yeah. Anyway, anything to make their lives worse, in my opinion. But I wanted to put the help desk. That's the snip. If you're listening, we're looking at a slide that has a snip of the help desk page. It's got great information, and one of the articles right at the very front. So it has you can submit. First, it says Axie Infinity or Ronin. You can submit a request up at the top if you need specific help. But then it also has these great articles, and one of the very first articles here is how to keep your account secure. And so I would highly recommend that people look at that and follow the direction from the team, from prominent community members. Again, we're never going to ask you for private keys or secret phrases or anything like that. Never ever. So if somebody's asking, they're bad. That's a bad person. So.
Yes, thank you so much for kind of bringing this up. I appreciate you kind of shilling this for us. But this is the support site, so it's support.axieinfinity.com. If you need questions and you want to, if you need help, this is the place. This is the only place to get help from the official team. There are a lot of great community members that will offer help, but again, just be wary of whether they are actually good or not. But if they give you answers and they don't ask for your seed phrase, that's great. But if you want support from the official team, this is the place to do it. I know our response times are long right now. Over time, we will fix that. I'm hoping in the next coming month, we're going to get that down to like 1 to 2 days, like I said, and then the support will be much better. But first, search for your question. I kind of going back to what I said earlier, a lot of the questions are the same questions over and over. People that are new, that are joining, they have similar questions. And our way of solving that is by publishing these articles in the Zendesk, in this platform at support.axieinfinity.com. So we have answers. We have like 50 something articles out there, and they answer all the common questions about how do I find my stuck withdraw? How do I set up my Trezor device? These are really common questions that we get all the time. So we have articles for that. So check that out first before submitting a ticket. But of course, if you don't see your answer, then submit us a ticket and we will get to it.
Oh dang! I missed one word. Sorry, I was playing around in chat. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, thanks again, and Mike again. One thing I wanted to ask you is like, I know you've got a lot of projects. I know that you're really engaged in wanting to educate people because this is the future of technology, really. What's the next thing for you? What if you can talk about it? What is your next goal, your next project? What you'd like to see happen next?
The next big thing is the education portion of the team. So I've kind of divided up the support organization of Sky Mavis into 4 different teams. So right now there's like the help desk team who is providing all the direct support to the trainers, and then we're going to have an education team and documentation team. They're going to kind of be combined to look at how we do documentation, and then also provide. I keep wanting to use this word fun education, as fun as we can make it, but engaging education, I guess I should say, so that it's interesting to learn about the blockchain, and not just reading fine print about like these are private keys and this is how this RSA key is calculated. Try to make it interesting and engaging, something that everyone can learn from. We're looking at doing it either in kind of a live stream format like this, or maybe in some other kind of like web-based articles, Twitter series, something like that. We're playing around with a few things. And then the next thing after that is kind of like an TOS enforcement area. Unfortunately, scammers are successful. And so one of the things we'd like to kind of beef up is the banning of those scammed Axies. So we do have the ability, like we seldomly use this ability, but when we do use it, it is to try and protect and try and decentivize these scammers. So if Axies get stolen and we can prove it beyond reasonable doubt that this was a scammer stealing these Axies, then we will ban those Axies usually for a really long time. And so kind of beefing up a team that really focuses on that. The other thing that the community has probably seen a few times is the botters. People that have massive walls of cell phones that are just playing the game, and they're not really thinking about anything. They just play cards and try and get some SLP. Going after those big farms and putting a lot of pressure on them to make it where it's not profitable for them to do that.
Awesome. That's so cool. I love the vision that the team has. I mean, what's incredible, Mike, is, somebody could say, well, you're just support, but I absolutely disagree. Every single part of this has to work just absolutely with a common vision and moving it forward. And having someone like you in support that has great vision and sees what is important for the future. It does my heart so good. And trying to get people good, useful information, having education as a focus is just so cool, so awesome. I'm just so glad you're part of the team. And I know that we had some interaction before you got selected or asked to come on. So thanks for your work before that too. I mean, I guess that's a really good lesson. My son and I were talking earlier about how amazing it is that when people volunteer their time, or if they're really interested in something, being able to do something without immediate financial reward or return. Sometimes it's amazing how things like that can turn into just absolutely incredible jobs, businesses, referrals, relationships, all that sort of stuff. So I guess little baronar life lessons there. It's awesome. So cool.
Yeah, can I second that? Can I shout out to our channel mod, our guardians in the Axie Infinity server? This team of people, it's about 45 of them, are absolutely amazing. They dedicate hours of their life to being in the Axie Infinity server, answering questions, and then also moderating the server. It is a massive server. There's 800,000 people, and that's only because Discord has capped us at 800,000. Otherwise, I'm confident we'd be into the millions. And this team is there every day, day in and day out, just doing that for free. It's a voluntary job. We do have a pipeline where a lot of our support specialists that we hire onto the support team do come from being moderators, and so that's something that we look for. It's important to us to hire within the community because they play the game, they know the game, they speak the terminology, so it's easy for them to just hit the ground running. As soon as we hire them, they're able to run and start answering questions. But our channel, I love our channel mods so much. They do so much for us. And it's always really impressive to me. We have so many really smart people, like the Ouchie bots that you see, and then other channel mods have some other like sophisticated things I don't really want to say here, but ways that we can find scammers and bots and stuff that are joining the Discord. And so I just really appreciate all the time that they put in to helping us out.
Yeah. Second here, and cheers to all the support folks, paid, unpaid. Really, really appreciate all the work that everybody's doing. And we're building something amazing. There's just going to be more and more. It's going to be more and more awesome as time goes on. And I'm just excited to see the team expanding. I know that it's going to continue to expand. The week-on-week growth is incredible. You just don't see projects having this level of week-on-week growth. I know that it's not that crazy exponential growth that we had for just a minute, but actually I feel like it's more sustainable. It's better. It's awesome. So yeah, way to go. And again, just want to say absolutely, way to go. Thank you so much to all the mods and everybody that's involved in support. Absolutely. Enjoys studiously studying something. I absolutely love it. Okay. All right. So we do have some team news. I mean, we could probably just talk. I guess we've talked quite a bit already, but we do have some more standard stuff. But I knew we were going to talk a lot about support and the goals there today, and I think it's hugely important. So thanks, Mike. And again, please, as we go through this other stuff, please jump in. And, I know you're not the leaks guy, but you never know. Anyway,
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So you might at least give us some insight or something, even if it's just your personal take. But I'm really excited about Season 19. Season 19, and I don't know all the formulas and everything. I haven't had a chance to look through the very specifics for like the crit formula and the skill formula updates. But these are exactly the sorts of changes that I was excited about, that I wanted to see. And I absolutely love the concept. We'll see how it ends up in the practical gameplay. I've been playing a little bit more, not a ton more. I keep hovering right around kind of like the 1600 MMR. I'm not playing enough to really push, but the team that I was using, I've used a couple of teams. I've used quite a few teams over time, but the primary team I was using, that includes an Aqua, by the way, has continued to be very successful. Terminators seem to me to still be, especially Dusk Terminators, seem to still be quite legitimate in PvP. To me, it seems like in general there's just kind of some more options, but the existing options are not completely unviable. They haven't been like nerfed to the point where they're not usable. So in general, my understanding is that morale increases the kind of amount of the crit, and so speedy Axies that don't have as much morale, they might crit just as often as they did in the past, but those crits are not going to be quite as destructive. I had a couple beasts crit my plant, and I had one that hit me, and I swear it was over 300 for one of them. And I was happy as could be because that's what a beast is supposed to do. If it's hitting a plant, and if it goes off and gets a lucky roll and it crits, it's supposed to just obliterate the tank. That's the whole point. And so I feel like we're seeing roles being defined a little bit better. I'm not Indus, Elijah, other people who are super into the esports side, even Ziori, but in general, it feels better to me. I'm really excited about the balancing changes. I'm excited about the stat changes as well. And overall, I'm just saying huge kudos. Way to go, team. Way to look at kind of some of the feedback. And honestly, it just feels more balanced. I don't know. I guess somebody even in chat or whatever could tell me like what exactly got nerfed to the point where it's unusable. But I don't really believe that happened. It just kind of rebalanced things in a way that made a little bit more sense. Do you end up with interplay on that, Mike? Is that something that you end up talking about, or is that more like the esports team handles those sorts of issues?
Yeah, we don't really see too much of it. And me personally, I'm not too involved in the balancing in economy. I don't see too much of those discussions. But I do know that this specific change, the change to the crit formula, was prompted by both the community and esports specifically. Again, we're always listening to the community, and there were a number of members that thought that the crits were just getting out of control and kind of ruining the game. Esports had a similar story where there was some big tournament and it was in the finals, and basically the final match was determined by a lucky crit. And so it just kind of felt, they would rather see the final match be determined by some sort of outplay where you're able to read what the opponent's next move is going to be and then play your cards accordingly. But it was a kind of a lucky crit that determined it. And so there was some feedback from esports as well that if we really want to take this, take our esports to the next level, we need to adjust crits a little bit, as well as the community feedback. And so that's where this came from.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Enjoi, what's your feeling? I know you don't do a whole ton of battling. Have you jumped into it with?
I picked it back up for season 19.
Nice.
Outside of the obvious, I've more been paying attention to what the community's saying. I've definitely noticed aquas do feel a little bit weaker. There's some things that were kind of very apparent in the last seasons that have been fixed. And it's kind of interesting to me because the people who were complaining before are still complaining about how things need to be balanced. And it needs to be addressed in a little bit, right? Because this is something that people are making a sizable investment into. They are, they're buying their Axies, they're playing the game with an expectation of earnings, and then the meta shifts. And I mean, that's kind of just how games like this work. Meta is always going to be shifting. The developers need to keep things interesting. But there's also a point that there's going to be many, many, many different game modes. If your Axies aren't great now, and a lot of this might just be, maybe sell one and pick something else up for the same price off of the marketplace floor. There's a lot of opportunities to do that. But V2 is going to have a completely different meta. There's going to be player-made games once the SDK comes out. Land is going to have its own meta. Like, your Axies may not be good in the current Battles version, but they may be good in the future. So, definitely keep that in mind. It's definitely not a wasted investment, but so there's things to look forward to. But you can also sell them in the marketplace and try and get a better, a team that meshes a little better. So, don't lose hope. There's ways around it, and obviously the community's out here that's and willing to help you out.
Absolutely, yeah, and people want to give good advice, and there's lots of great sources out there, coaches and stuff. We'll talk about that in just a second. But yeah, that's cool. I guess you're the noobs below this line guy, huh?
That's it.
I figured. Well, good for you, man.
No, I'm in that $7.99 line. No, I'm just.
I kind of thought that was probably AK, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, pretty cool. All right, well, we've got some more team news. There was a slight change to the white paper. All of it kind of read in the way I kind of have always seen things, so I didn't notice huge changes. There were a few things added that were pretty obvious too. I would take the opportunity to read through the Axie economy and long-term sustainability part of the white paper. It's definitely worth a view. It helps us not only to see kind of what we're dealing with now, but it also, I feel like, gives us kind of signposts, a concept of where the team sees things going, where things get headed into the future. And I thought it was really interesting. I love the idea of more real world meetups. I know Enjoi and I are talking about maybe an Axie Chat World Tour kind of thing, and pretty excited about some of those ideas. See this meetup happening in London. Are you flying over to Europe, Mike, to hang out with
It's
Alex?
over Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
I
tough.
am not.
Pretty tough for anybody with a family in the U.S. And I know you like your turkey dinner, and I do too. It's like one of my
This is very true.
favorite times of the year. I saw that Reese's put out a giant Reese cup. And they're calling it a pie. I want one of those so bad. It's just a gigantic pie-sized Reese's cup, man. That
sounds delicious.
That's what we need for Thanksgiving, man. Oh,
yeah.
Of course, you eat that, and then you're immediately, unable to move. Yep. Turkey plus that. Could you imagine? Wow, I'm getting off track. Okay. Also, the Axie Infinity Creator Cup. Really excited to see some regional events. This looks absolutely incredible. I know that Ziori had said that they were going to be out of the area, and it looks like it's for this December 4th. Going to be super, super awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited for this event. This is kind of like that first really major esports event, if you will. We've had like a lot of really good competitions, but this they're kind of bringing it to the next level. And so Ziori's done a great job planning it and getting things all set up. It's going to be, I think, a ton of fun, and I think it's going to kind of set the stage for what these other big regional events are going to start to look like. So this is kind of the beginning, them testing the water, see what's working, what's not working. But then, we keep building from here until we have these massive esports tournaments.
Live event right there in the Philippines. Yeah, it has the esports feel. I know it's just kind of the first shot, like you said. So they're just doing it with like 8 celebrity kind of guests, content creator guests. So I think that's going to make it even more fun. I can't wait to see Cuckoo get rocked by one of these others. And be all like, whoa, what? Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll see. We absolutely love Cuckoo, man. Cuckoo, awesome guy. We don't talk enough about the connections over there. Cuckoo, Gabby, others. Thanks to the Philippines, thanks to every scholar. This is being built by you and everybody, but you're a big part of it too. So couldn't it be better that maybe this kickoff event is happening in the Philippines? I'm lit up about it. I think it's great. And somehow, I guess Trung managed to get on national TV, and I don't know anything about this, which is mind-blowing to me. So I'm still going to sort it out. If anybody has a link or anything like that, I'm still looking for it. I wasn't able to find, I definitely would probably need it translated, but I love hearing everything that Trung has to say. So it would be awesome to see whatever was said there. He's got to be just like an absolute business celebrity in Vietnam right now, I would assume. So I just absolutely would love to hear what types of questions he's being asked. I really excited that he had that opportunity, and I would love to, if anybody has the ability to link that or find that and subtitle it.
This was a big week for TV placements in general. I think Jiho was also on CNBC or something for a small segment.
Bloomberg.
So yeah, word's getting out. Bloomberg, there you go. Thank you.
And I got that one, but I didn't put that in this slide. There's so much happening. Man. I miss Bloomberg of all things. The crap, man. Slipping in my old age.
It's growing so fast. I mean, we're just now starting to hit these mainstream media outlets, and then
Time
something
Magazine
that I thought
too,
would kind of Time Magazine. Another thing I thought would get a lot of attention is Binance in the U.S. Listed AXS, which if you look at the U.S. listings on Binance, there's not a lot. So for them to list Binance, I think that says something, that's a really big coin for them to kind of put that effort into list it on the U.S. exchange as well. But you're going to start to see kind of more of those things where Axie is starting to break into these other big markets. We've been kind of primarily focused in Asia and maybe in South America, and we now have a new marketing lead as well, who's going to be helping us pushing us into these other really large markets, and our Axie family is only going to grow bigger and bigger. So we're really excited for that.
Yeah, and excited for more announcements about that. I had the opportunity to meet the marketing lead. Very excited to see what comes, and it's kind of a marketing almost group effort, right? Like I know it's not just at a time we all know it was basically just Jiho putting together these dev updates and just kind of being the web slinger or whatever, just kind of doing it. But now there's a better team, a group of people, and I know that's always good. More minds, more hands is always a good thing. So excited to see what comes from the marketing. We've said it forever, Enjoi. Like there hasn't even really been any marketing. It's just barely starting at this point to have any level of marketing.
Yeah, it's been all word of mouth and fostered word of mouth. I mean, they've done a great job of helping grow their community content creators from the beginning when it was just little shrimps like us to now they've got Ian Mercado on there. Like that's a huge host for this event. So you're right though. We haven't seen like Facebook ads or Google ads or all these things that are more traditionally seen as the growth metrics or the thing that drive growth. And who knows whether or not we'll ever need to see those things because being able to earn from playing a game is probably the most marketing you really need.
Yeah, I mean,
so much word of mouth.
yeah, I do think we're still, especially I feel like in the U.S., Northern America in general, there's lots of opportunity for the word to get out there. This is a fun, good experience. I think of all the kids playing tower defense games and Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, all those sorts of games. There's a huge audience that has yet to be tapped, and I'm really, really excited for that. Free to play and different things like that to just experience the games and so forth. I think it's going to be big, and I can't wait for those ads. I think, was it on Exclusive last time? I was talking about those ads that come up on YouTube, and it's for some mobile game where the person's like, oh, your boyfriend is this person. I killed your boyfriend in the game last weekend. Anyway.
Whenever I'm watching YouTube, watching the Axie Chat reruns or whatever, I always see ads for Blankos.
Blankos.
Basically AAA game made by, I think it was it ex-Blizzard employees, something like that. And I always think like, is this actually driving users? Is this actually bringing people to them? Because it's never made me go and reopen that game.
Right.
As much as I like the concept, I've played it plenty of times, but it's never like made me go back and play, even though I've already got it downloaded to my machine. So I don't even know that kind of that
method of advertising,
that tactic would work. Yeah.
Sure. I completely agree with you. I do know that this is when you look at Pokemon Go, you look at different types of Pokemon games, and there's just a huge untapped audience that I'm so excited to see this thing continue to. I mean, just if we keep this week-on-week growth, it's just going to be incredible. But I do feel like there is kind of similar to the way Mike described transactions trying to go through the Ronin chain. I kind of feel like that's kind of where we are with adoption, getting people into the game. It's just got a few things that are kind of gumming it up so that it's not just flowing freely. Obviously, scalability is an issue, so yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think kind of the marketing tactic, so there is that type of like traditional marketing, but I think that Axie does so well, and this is me personally, not what our marketing lead has said, but I think we do so well with the friends describing it to friends that if we were able to just educate more people about Axie on a broader scale, that would then bring in a ton of people. So we don't really need the traditional marketing, but just getting people to know about it. So like when I was in New York for the NFT event, I had one of my Uber drivers and we started talking. He's like, oh, what do you do? And I started talking about my work here at Sky Mavis and Axie Infinity. And immediately he was in. He was like, you have to tell me more. Like, I want to play this game. I want my whole family to play this game. And so I think just kind of educating people that Axie is out there and there's a revolution going on, this new style of gaming where you can play to earn and you own your assets and stuff like that. Once they hear that, they don't need any more. They don't need any like fancy, these advertisement videos. They're in. They just want to like, where do I sign up and stuff? And so that's part of that education and like getting them to come in, but also like teaching them all about the blockchain and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a conversation with the Uber driver too. That's so funny. Yeah, it was great. In the end, though, he's just like, "Okay, so what do I buy?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh! I mean, what am I supposed to say? Ethereum? I mean, be safe. I don't know. It's so funny." Community stuff is just incredible. Daily active addresses, again, different than daily active users as far as gameplay, but these are actual addresses interacting with the Ronin chain. Hit 1 million. It's just going to go up. It's going to be incredible. I feel like every time we make these advances, like there's something that's holding us back, like getting Axies onto Ronin chain, getting getting the decks on Ronin chain, and now we're kind of just like getting Ron released. And one of these times we're going to get to the end hurdle, and all of a sudden it's just going to be slick, and it's going to be incredible, and all of a sudden it's going to be no holds barred, and it's just going to go off. And like I said before, I feel like we're really building the skeleton, the infrastructure right now, and a lot of that's done at this point. Now we just need to make sure that when it's released, it's sensible. Dude. So cool stuff. Great esports stuff happening. Want to shout out Chief. Very awesome. Axe as well. I mean, those guys are the best. So cool. Great tournament. I heard several people watching it. I didn't have time to tune in. Didn't see. Do we know who the winners were? I didn't get a chance to see who rose to the top. If anybody in chat lets us know, I'd love. Yeah, hype and hair for sure. And Axie sisters. Man, every time I think that they they're just gonna do their dance in their little outfits, they come up with something completely different. Art show here with the fists up, mimicking the painting. Axie sisters are freaking awesome. I love seeing what they come up with. They've been really, really active on Twitter too. It's just fun. I love fun, good stuff. So keep it up. Also. It's a little small probably for those that are watching the slides, but one of the slides here is Ayan, I think is how you say Ayan's name, decided to decorate their Christmas tree with their Axies. So it looks like they had them printed out and laminated or something. So their ornaments on the Christmas tree are all Axies. It's so cool. So great stuff.
I love this Christmas tree. Like the SLP printout and the Axies and stuff. That is awesome. That is. Where do I buy this? Take my money.
For sure. Make it into an NFT too. So so awesome. So one project that I felt like I really had to shout out, they've upgraded. They went to like their version 3. It's Axie Tech. It just has so many incredible community members. Just felt like it was important to shout out here. Amy's doing an incredible job. They've got some great coaches in Indus and Best Axies. Great people behind the scenes with Kintasi, Bryce, Trap Queen, Oh Hi Hello. Got to meet some of these people in NYC. They're just as cool as you would expect. It was absolutely great to meet some of these folks. And, it's just a great... this is what you were kind of talking about before, Mike, right? We have these sorts of, you could almost call this a guild. This is kind of more guild support. But the more of these things that happen without Ron, the more the RPC is getting nailed with transactions and requests for information. And so,
and we want to be able to support this because it is such an important part of the community. Having the community that can build these amazing projects so that we can focus on like the in-game things. And so you will see some things kind of coming up for the community developers out there. We are looking at how we can get you on-chain data in an easy and documented way. So that is being looked into, and I think you'll see some moves on that soonish. To help kind of alleviate from our RPC getting nailed from these requests, but also to make development. Right now, these people that are developing this are such smart people, and I really appreciate them putting all their time in. But we would like to lower that bar a little bit so that your kind of introduction person who has kind of dabbled in development can get in and get the data that they need as well. So that's what we're striving to get to.
Awesome. Yeah, so excited. I mean, so the economy is continuing to do just incredibly well. As I said, the week-on-week increases for both Axie holders and daily active users in-game battlers is just It's just doing great. It's between 5 to 15% weekly. Just incredible. This one was even higher. I didn't figure it out, but I think it was at least above 10%, which is, well, I was right in the 10% range, I guess, but it's really, really good. The volume, and again, Ethereum kind of has taken a bit of a dump today, so these numbers don't look like they looked just a day ago, but still, these are incredible numbers. So volume on the marketplace, over 20 million, and that's with all the Rona issues that are happening. So still,
Right.
still,
Kind of incredible, actually, when you think about it.
it really
Yeah.
is. I mean, it just shows that, yeah, there's a ton of demand. That kind of backlog, the backflow is very, very significant and deep. So total volume over the past week and then over the past 30 days has just been absolutely incredible too. You know, you add a few $100s to each one of those Ethereum and you're closer to, you know, 800,000-900,000. In fact, up on the chart, we see that just on the 15th, it was registering at almost 740 million in total USD value transacted through the 30-day period. So things are in great shape and continue to be doing well. It's just incredible because these assets can be used for real purpose to generate SLP, which then can be used for real purpose to generate more Axies. It's just a beautiful economic cycle. The Treasury, again, the USD numbers look a little bit down, but in general have increased significantly again. I think we went from just barely over 20 million Axis in the Treasury to almost 20.3 million Axis in the Treasury week on week. So it's still growing. People are still breeding Axies. There's still Axis that's entering the Treasury. Things are going well. Same with Ethereum. Ethereum amounts going up. And I'm really excited to see more information about how the Treasury is going to end up being utilized. We had some initial information that seems to still be valid, that stakers are going to have some portion of this, but it's going to, I think, end up requiring some governance input as well. And even if it's mostly a Sky Mavis decision, I think that it's going to be one of these things where they can test out the governance portion of the staking dashboard as time goes on. We've already been told that the staking dashboard's just the minimalist first version, early onset of the staking. So we expect that there will be governance proposals and a governance portion of the dashboard as time goes on, and clearly that's going to have something to do with the Treasury. We're having a long one. Are you good, Mike? We're kind of doing a long public stream. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, please do.
So on that topic, this is something that's at the forefront of our minds. Kind of how do we decentralize Axie and how do we get this whole governance structure? So there is actually a small kind of working group that's forming right now. That's going to be the first group that kind of develop some sort of like a governance something. It's actually specifically for content creators. We're going to be kind of revamping the way that we assign that Discord role to content creators. But that's what we like to do, is we kind of like to start small, test it here, and then if that platform works out, then we'll kind of look to grow that into something that's bigger and better, that can scale to be the DAO that we need Axie to be, and give the AXS staking holders their votes and their governance rights.
Awesome. All right, so this is a little bit of a leak. I haven't even talked to Enjoi about this, I don't think. So Explorer has this amazing project that Explorer's working on, and it's this passport system. Look at these stamps and crap. I am so incredibly excited about this. I'm really hoping that we can integrate this with some form of kind of like a POAP, like a proof of attendance, like a proof of stamp. Like, so when we actually stamp this, that we can offer a mintable token as well, to show that the stamp took place. I'm so excited for this because it feels like this could be another way of making these in-person meetups and events just really special and really neat. So kudos to Explorer. I don't think I asked if I could give this information because I don't think he's really talked to anybody about this at all. So this is really awesome. Yeah, this is like leak level, really, just right at the very beginning. And I love that you just said that's awesome.
Because it's right at the bottom. I didn't even read that, but you're getting into my head. What this is making me think of is around me, like vineyards are very popular, and they have a wine passport, right? And you go around to all the vineyards and you get it stamped. And at the end of the year, if you are able to make it to a certain amount,
Oh,
you get entered into a drawing for like travel or something like that. It'd be really cool, and I don't want to overstep. I don't know what the plans are for this, but it'd be really cool if we had a certain amount of people at these events who had these sort of stamps, and if you get them all, something happens. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm just thinking out loud. This is really cool. And are those stamps? Are those renderings, or are those actual
that's a
physical
physical
stamps?
stamp.
Oh my gosh,
He's laser cut rubber.
this is incredible.
Yes, this is incredible. I'm so excited for this. I was talking with my son again about different ways of kind of augmented reality, having these NFTs have a physical presence as well. And this is a neat thing where we blend reality and the digital reality kind of together, physical reality, digital reality. I'm hoping. I absolutely, I'm so excited about this. This is great. I feel like this is kind of where things are headed. Yeah, and I think with the ecosystem fund and governance, ideas that are awesome like this, maybe those end up getting a little bit of help too to make them go forward. So I'm really excited about such things. Okay, so we do have a Shrubs. And actually, this one got leaked to our guest beforehand, which is not something we typically do. So I'm glad for that. So the Between the Shrubs, it says 3 shrubs. Oh, hey, damn it, I missed that. Oh, I need another shrub out there. Oh,
I'm too clever for you.
there's one here at the bottom. There we go. Oh, I've got to bring it to the front.
So, anyways, the question is Sky Mavis is appearing to split off responsibility between Axie, Ronin, Katata, and a number of other projects to be determined. I'm assuming most of us realize that Sky Mavis is just the developer behind Axie, and the goal is to create an entire ecosystem. So we're starting to see that ecosystem start getting split out. Now, in general, is this a bullish or a bearish thing for Axie? Is the split of responsibility good or bad for what we're doing here?
I'm going to let our guest take the first crack because I think you already had some ideas.
Yeah, I think it's bullish. It's allowing us to kind of set up the future, right? To do something on the scale that we want to do. Now that we know how much demand there is, or at least we have like some sort of expectation for how much demand it is, it allows us to organize into these certain sections and then apply adequate resources rather than just saying, hey, this one team is going to work on all of these things. That probably worked back in the day, but now we know we need specific teams because these products are going to be really big and really important. So now we need a whole team that's going to do Katana. We need a whole team that's going to do whatever these other lines are. But it does start to help us visualize where we're going in the future. How we have Ronin, and Ronin Axie is one game that runs on top of Ronin right now, but Ronin was designed and built to be a blockchain that could run many games. Obviously, right now it's not in the state to do that, but again, we will get there to a point where Ronin can be a blockchain for many different projects, including other Sky Mavis projects that you guys already know about, right? Land and some of these other things that we're really excited about. But I think there's going to be even more. But being organized is a key part of that. And so as you see us structuring this out, that is the reason is we need to be organized so that we can execute on these missions that we have.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much hit everything that I was going to say. Organization is key. I think sometimes people sleep on organization, and it's actually hugely important. Both in your personal life and in businesses, having good organization is crucial. No one person can do all these things. What people try to do that for a while, and I think that we've seen that. I'm grateful to hear that people like Jiho have a team as opposed to Jiho doing kind of things all on his own. I'm glad to hear that the different games within Axie Infinity have different teams that are focused on those as well. So it just kind of, for me, more heads and more hands are always better. Sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating if there isn't centralized kind of decision making. But I kind of know the team, and I kind of feel confident there's probably a lot of centralized decision making and methodologies for having those decisions made. And I'm pretty sure that either you're going to or missing a meeting, because it seems like you guys must meet on Tuesdays right around the time of Axie Chat, because all of a sudden after Axie Chat, it seems like things get released. We're still looking for a dev update, by the way. Jiho,
Yeah,
Jeff.
there is a dev update coming. That is, I know Jeff is working hard at that. It's just kind of back to, there's so many things happening right now, so many really great things happening. But the dev update is important because it's our way of communicating to the community where we're going. But that is coming. It will be a good dev update.
I'm excited. There hasn't been hardly anything that's happened, right? So there isn't really a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Not a lot to talk about.
Oh man.
I'm gonna take this question in a different way. Just because it's not necessarily about splitting off the responsibility. It's I guess my initial point with this is is Sky Mavis going to focus on some of these products because they have more earning potential. And right now I don't think that's really a concern, because Ronin, Katana, like all of this stuff is actually smoothing out the learning curve for Axie. Like the goal is still Axie at the forefront, and all this other stuff is being built to make it easier to come into the ecosystem. So right now I think it's highly bullish. I think it's highly advantageous for Axie in particular. And when they start adding other games, that's another question that we can ask then. But
yeah,
right now it's the whole point is all of these products are to make Axie easier to access.
Yeah, so taking that question that direction, again, my comments about that they're putting kind of the skeleton or the framework or the foundation down, I think that that's really what's happening. I can see what you're saying. Like, you get too far into Axie Fi and you worry more about staking and providing liquidity and farming Ron and all of that, as opposed to making sure there's a great gaming experience out there. And that is a danger. You're absolutely right. I agree. Like, but I still feel like breeding Axies, the game of breeding Axies, the game of acquiring SLP, the actual battles game that's enjoyable in and of itself, and actually, in my opinion, improved probably at least by 2 times in its enjoyability for me with this season's update. It's a big thing for me, this change.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the change that came with season 19. I'm really excited about version 2. I'm excited about whatever Project L is. I'm excited about obviously land play and getting that wood. All those things are really exciting, but I see what you're saying. Like other projects, if it wasn't Axie, I'd be worried about it. If it was some other, and I won't name particular projects, but if it was some other project, I would really be concerned that they would just start chasing what looks like the new toy, looks like the new thing that people are interested in, and they would lose focus. But not Sky Mavis, not this team. They're out for an Axie revolution. We're changing the world, and that's what they're up to. That's my belief. So for me, it's bullish, but I can understand the concern, and it's a rational concern. It's worth exploring and talking about. Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. Excellent. So I think that we probably answered what my point of this slide was, but kind of my point is, man, we have the idea of Ron, but we're still kind of when Ron. A lot of, because Ron isn't actually in place. There's only a very few people who actually have Ron and can use Ron for transactions. And yeah, we're getting a lot of Ron. It's good. But I guess are we thinking? And again, don't say if you have a personal opinion, say it. I know from the team perspective you can't say it, but Enjoi, or you think we have to wait for the whole 90-day RON period, or do you think we're looking at are we looking at just a few days? Are we looking at weeks? Is it kind of in between that time frame by a year end? How do you feel about it?
I'm kind of thinking year end. I don't have any inside information, but I feel like with the issues that we've been facing over the last couple of days, just clogging up that free RPC node, it makes sense that they would open up the other half of that pipe to let the transactions come through. But at the same time, they did say that they want to wait until there's a large supply out there for, as Mike had mentioned, to prevent any spikes in price or downward spikes in price or just anything weird going on with people hoarding it. So it's possible that they wait the whole 90 days. I'm really split on that, and I don't know. Just looking forward to the release. I think it's going to save. It's really going to change how things are done.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much on this. We are obviously having.
It's got to be a high priority, right?
Ron.
I mean, it's got to be a super high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the highest priority is making sure stabilizing the Ronin network so that we can kind of facilitate this growth that we're having, right? We saw our growth levels kind of come down to like 3% or something, and now we're seeing it come back up. And we expected that after we launched Katana that there would be a lot of like pent up demand. And it's amazing that we're still seeing that growth, but it will grow even more and even faster. We'll add more people to the Axie family if the Ronin network is stable, and so it is a top priority for us.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm thinking that it's tough to fully release a chain's primary token. That's something that you really are careful and cautious about. But on the other hand, as we've talked to Enjoi, I felt like the team has had a lot of these dashboards and a lot of the technology behind these flurry of releases for quite some time. They've just been kind of timing and maybe making sure, error checking. And so it's probably really, really close. And it may be a button push, but it's one of those buttons that you're like, okay, we push this button and there's absolutely no going back. So before we turn the keys and push the button, we better be 100% sure that we've got the right nuclear code phrases in place. Little War Games reference back to
right. Yeah, we don't want to create more issues. That would be worse, right? If we by trying to rush a solution, if that created issues that we then couldn't take back, and then we had to implement more solutions, it would just, so we definitely want to make sure that we release it at the right time, and that's kind of a data-driven decision. It's just monitoring that data and seeing where else we can make improvements. But yeah.
Awesome. So a couple things. I think we eclipsed 10,000 followers on Twitch. Thanks so much. It sounds like people are having some ad issues. We obviously can't control that. Sorry that you're running into those. And H Hiker, just saw you in the chat. I saw that you apparently won a forest plot. Wow. Nice. The community giveaways and stuff that take place in Axie Infinity blow my mind. The value of that plot is very high. I saw that it was, if I got it right, it was on a river too. So I mean, that is a very, very nice forest plot. Again, congrats. I mean, I didn't even enter into it. I can justify it and say like, well, I want other people to have opportunities or whatever. But honestly, like, people should be pursuing any opportunities that are out there. If you're wondering how to get involved, like, again, find ways to just contribute in some way. If you have an expectation that you have to be paid for every single thing that you do, that's going to be tough. What have we been saying, like NGMI type of stuff? So just work hard. Yeah, so cool. Work hard, profit. Digital Nation rising up.
We're moving.
We are moving up. Rise up. Sorry, I went Hamilton for just a second there. I don't know how many Hamilton people, but here comes the general. Hey, okay, all right. So, yeah, you want to talk about this one, Enjoi?
Yeah. So, a big announcement. We've been doing this All Access Pass for now, gosh, it's probably only almost been 9 months. A lot of success, a lot of great compliments from people who have taken part, both the founders and the quarterly members. Q4, the pass, has been going on for a month and a half now. There's a month and a half left. So we're officially taking this pass down tonight. Let's give it till midday tomorrow Eastern time. If anybody's still interested in this, we do have premium calls after this stream. Get it a little bit deeper into the financials. It's really more about the community Axie Chat, right? It's opens the conversation up to a larger group of people who are just diehard Axie and honestly just huge amounts of wisdom in those groups. So anyways, this is up for sale right now on Rarible. It will not be up for sale after midday tomorrow. Please, if you're interested, come and join us. If not, it is what it is. No problem. There's always 2022. But yeah, in 10 minutes or so, we'll be jumping over to the Axie Chat Discord and taking this thing private for another session.
Excellent. Thanks, man. Yeah, we do have some merch. We'll talk more about that later. We are going Nova in November, already happening. Hey, honestly, we'll probably talk about this a little bit more in the exclusive, but Axis is doing pretty dang good in this dip. Like it kind of followed down with Ethereum, but then it kind of decoupled a little bit and came up. I think people are thinking, oh, it's time to get some Axis at a little bit better price point, and I think they're probably right. So I expect more and more to see these Axie assets decouple from some of the main moves. But yeah, we'll just have to see. And hey everybody, Mike, thank you so much for joining us, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was really nice meeting the community members in Axie Chat. I hope that I can meet all the community members in the real world at one of our events one of these days. But thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime. So good to have you on. And please let us know if there's anything that we can communicate to the Axie Chat community as well. That's helpful anytime at all. So thank you, and live large and Axie hard.
Axie hard, guys. Take care.
Hey, have a great day in Lunacy, everybody. Take care.